104.7 The Cave. Mike the Intern in the studio this morning with Jay Stevens.
Yeah.
It's Dark Side of the Stream, episode 107. Let me get my necklace fixed here.
Oh, you're making yourself look pretty.
Usually it's Jay the one that's messing stuff up. I'm the one having to get myself together this morning. So this week on Dark Side of the Stream, we discussed my pick, The Real Bling Ring on Netflix. Pretty interesting story about a bunch of punk kids that decided to go be their own Robin Hoods, if you will. But before we get into all of the story behind this, I wanted to ask Jay a couple questions. First and foremost, Jay, have you ever stolen anything in your life?
Yeah, sure.
Come on, give me one.
Sure.
Give me a story. Come on, the statute of limitations.
I remember when I was in elementary school, there was a little liquor store by my house. So some Asian guy would work behind the counter, and after school one day, I remember went in there, and it was a pack of Boston baked beans.
Oh, like the ones that were like a quarter?
For some reason, I think I tried to steal it, and he grabbed my hand and punched me on the arm a few times. So that was my lesson learned.
That was your wake-up call.
He scared me straight.
Luckily, that happened in elementary school.
Scared me straight. I still remember it.
You know, I didn't really steal anything other than like albums from my parents, and then just said, "Oh yeah, I have that. Sorry," but I don't really consider it was in the same house. It wasn't like I stole it.
I was a pretty good kid for the most part.
But really, as far as like theft goes, the only time that I really remember doing anything like that was when me and my buddies were camping in Colorado. When I was around 17 or 18, we went to Rocky Mountain National Park in the middle of December to camp for a week. I would not suggest doing that unless you're absolutely prepared. It was horrendous, and I almost died.
Oh, no.
But before we went into the forest, we stopped in Boulder for a day, and we went into this shop. It was one of these hippie shops and like a bunch of Sherpa stuff and like, this guy was sweating us. Like, we just were like walking around. He was just on us. So because we were so mad, he wouldn't leave us alone. We all just swiped something from his store.
Oh no!
Everyone took something, and I still have the sheepwool hat I stole from that guy in my collection. Yeah, I know, which I'm not proud of it.
Nowadays, I just steal lots of hearts.
That's what he does. All right, so
dad joke 101.
This story talks about some kids in California that. Really, it's just kind of a microcosm of the haves and have-nots.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? In LA, man, you drive through that town, and literally every underpass, every highway exit literally will have homeless cities.
Now it's incredibly
on streets
horrible.
Underneath.
Since I left, I think it just got incredibly bad.
Every year.
Everywhere. It wasn't like this when I was younger. Now it's crazy.
Every time I go out there, it's gotten worse
because now the laws allow them to just chill.
They can do whatever they want. But again, the difference between the have and have nots has just gotten so wide, especially out there. And hopefully this isn't a sign of things to come for us living the good life in the Midwest. But either way, we'll talk about what these kids were stealing, what they got involved with next. Dark Side of the Stream on 104.7 The Cave. "104.7 The Cave" is Springfield's pure classic rock. Mike the Intern in the studio this morning with Jay Stevens discussing The Real Bling Ring on Netflix, Hollywood Heist. It's a 3-part series, talks about a bunch of kids that were stealing from famous people.
Yeah, well, they started stealing from rich cars in the rich neighborhood. Find open door, Jackson stuff.
That actually happens here. I mean, I've had my car hit before.
And then one time they just decided to take a Porsche because there's keys in it.
Yeah,
and
like
that was a little crazy.
What they would do would drive around and just slowly like check door handles, and we'd go to like the middle class neighborhoods, and everyone would keep the door locked. But then you go to these wealthy, and everyone let their car because they don't care.
Yeah.
They got the money to throw around. It doesn't matter why you lock your car door. It doesn't matter. Doesn't matter to me. So that just goes to show you again.
So it was like small little theft, glove compartment stuff. And then all of a sudden, we're going to take this Porsche and drive it around all week, take it to school, put some different tags on it. That was crazy. That's when I go, okay, this is getting next level.
I really think like it kind of started out with the, whatever that guy's girl's friends was, Rachel. Is that what her name was?
Yeah.
She was kind of the catalyst, I think.
Yeah, she kind of made him be naughty.
to like push all these people to kind of go where they
And
were
he
going.
enjoyed it though then.
Well, eventually he did, because it kind of gave him stature. They had all these things, they had figured out a way to do it, and they weren't getting caught. And that's the thing, is like, you don't see any kind of consequences for your actions. Why stop? Again, these kids were not super wealthy or well off, and they lived in Calabasas. Is that how you say it?
Calabasas is the rich area. They lived on the other
Yeah.
side. Yeah, we're not so rich.
Which
area, yeah.
which
Middle
that
class.
you can't even imagine. I mean, that's where the
It's
Kardashians
just a
live
hill
out
different.
there.
Yeah, over the hill, a 10-minute drive difference in money level.
But I really liked how the directors of this kind of set it up to where when they were talking about certain neighborhoods, they'd have a real estate agent come in and show you.
Oh, it was made really cool.
Mr.
It was made
Mr.
really
Smiley
cool.
here
Yeah.
trying to sell me a $5 million.
It was made really cool. And these kids then, came up with the plan that, hey, when celebrities are out of town or they're on social media out, let's go rob their house.
And that's a great way to get to where we're going next, Jay Stevens. We got Dark Side of the Stream in a few minutes on 104.7 The Cave. .7 The Cave. Mike the Intern, Jay Stevens in the studio. It is Dark Side of the Stream, episode 107, discussing the real Ring Bling Hollywood Heist on Netflix. So Jay mentioned eventually these kids, as they would do, would continue on their crime spree, and they would get a little bit more daring. This time they would check where these socialites would be on their Instagram or whatever, their social media channels. And then when they'd find out they were gone, they knew where they lived, they'd break into their house.
They'd Google their house, find the address, drive up there, and just start checking doors on house. And sure enough, unlock doors at these celebrities' mansions.
And they would just go shopping. Like, no problem.
But they were good at first because they would go in the closet, find old purses, take the money out of old purses, which everybody, you got coats with money in them. You don't know that
you act like that's a normal thing, dude.
Yeah,
I know exactly where my money is, and there's none of it in my wallet.
I'll pull out an old jacket. I'm like, oh, there's $100 in there. Didn't know that was in there.
I wish I had that problem, Jay.
But and so they were taking stuff that wasn't like noticeable.
Yeah.
So it wasn't noticed until then they got to a house where they actually found quite a bit of money and quite a bit of jewelry.
Yeah, and they took a lot of stuff. And they eventually would pay the price for this.
But they were robbing Paris Hilton's house, Orlando Bloom, all these big stars' homes.
And they were
wearing their clothes.
Yeah,
then they'd wear the clothes.
They'd take it to school like it was no big deal. This thing is still happening. More so with hip hop artists. Nipsey Hussle is a good example. Recently, there was another artist that just got shot and killed in LA. Someone tweeted or shared a story on Instagram. They were out having chicken and waffles at a place.
Yeah, Roscoe's.
And literally, there are guys in gangs that follow some of these rappers' girlfriends on social media.
Yeah.
And when they find out where they are, they go after them
because they're wearing a house on their wrist,
$500,000 house around their neck.
So they say, hey, shout out, we're over here at this, kind of a place in the hood. Roscoe's is a place in the hood, We're here with the real people having dinner in the hood, and then gangs show up, and
that's over something you're wearing around your neck.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable.
Which goes back to the basic premise of if you're going on vacation, you don't post it.
You don't post where you're going.
Yeah. Come back.
I don't even say that I'm leaving vacation until I come back. I'm like, hey, I was gone.
Point, I don't even post pictures of my kids on Facebook and stuff because
it's just not.
I'm in a weird position here where crazy girls like to show up at my shows.
Well, yeah, that's your own problem, and you've dug your own grave there.
With 2 shovels, I dug my own grave with 2 shovels. Maybe you shouldn't be taking your shirt off so much, Jay Stevens. But the thing is, like, it's so sad that you have to be that, like, looking into it from a perspective of like, well, if I tell someone I'm here and I've got, $500,000 around my neck, I'm a target. And so, it's twofold. The other thing is, I just don't get, I get it. It's from a stature thing. And, you got the money, you want to flaunt it. But dude, like the smartest guys are the guys that have the money. And they have the money, but they don't. Ones with the most money, don't be flaunting nothing.
No. And again, it just doesn't make any sense to me. But again, I collect records and I don't have any bling. Per se, I've got a silicone ring around my finger, for Christ's sake. But eventually these kids would get busted. Some of them would serve time for what they did. Not a whole lot, though. I think they kind of got a slap.
Well, because the whole trial turned into a reality show as well.
Yeah,
I think so.
Hollywood got their hands on this thing, and they were like, "Oh my god, this would make
some of the kids involved." They started doing a reality show because they wanted to be famous. The mom wanted fame and fortune for her and her kids.
I felt bad for that.
It was
girl,
a little
man.
wacky, that family.
Yeah, and her and the
So the trial became televised, and then the people involved in the trial kind of like that fame too, like the district attorneys and stuff.
He was in the TV
lawyers,
show.
Yeah. One guy was in the movie. The cop that did the arresting
Yeah.
actually was in the movie. That's like, what's going on? The lines are getting blurred. So I think at that point, the judge is like, okay, you guys are all whacked out. Let's just get this.
Let's just get this done. And
they got off pretty easy, I feel, for what they did, because they stole millions of dollars worth of stuff.
Oh yeah. Theft over what 500 is a felony or something like that. And I mean, how many felonies did they actually commit?
But then when it came down to them making a movie about this story, the Bling Ring movie, Paris Hilton let them film in her house where the stuff took place.
Well, because how did she get famous? Famous for just being the sake of famous.
So
and that's the problem.
There was a point of the documentary when it started getting real boring, because it was like, okay, cool, we know what's going on. It was made really well. The story
part is the best part.
It got stretched out a little long, but then at the end, I was like, oh, this is just now, classic Hollywood nonsense, like classic LA, everybody's fake BS.
We will find out what that is next. Dark Side of the Stream on 104.7 The Cave. Mike the Intern, Jay Stevens back in the studio one more time. Dark Side of the Stream, episode 107, discussing the real Bling Ring. So Jay made a mention of the fake BS in Hollywood at the close of this documentary.
Everybody you meet out there is fake.
Oh, man, dude, that whole town, it's just you can't trust anything in that town. Whether they love you or hate you, you still can't trust it.
So how many stolen Gucci bags do you give this one?
Solid 3. I kind of felt like the beginning was good. It really could have been an hour.
Beginning was good. Last 10 minutes was awesome. The hour in the middle, I could have done without it.
So what was the we got to get a payoff. What was the fake Hollywood BS at the end of the documentary, Jay?
Well, it's just that they exposed that everybody was just trying to get famous, even the DA, and he was
even it's like the saying, and that's what I wanted to say. It's like that's the saying. It's like bad news or good news. It's always good.
Yeah.
Right. Because you're in the news.
No such thing as bad publicity.
Yeah. It's even these people that got hit, they're like, well, screw it. Even in the news. Why not?
It's just all part of that fake phony.
It is, my man. If I was on that level of money, fame, I would do what some have done, and that's just buy a ranch out in the middle of Colorado somewhere you couldn't get to. You don't know where it's at, and that's where my main house would be. I'd have apartments, places where I had to work and stuff, but you'd never know where I was. That's the dream, right?
That's the dream.
That's the dream. Just disappear and come out when you want to be out. Yeah. Solid 3. You give it a 2.
I give it 2 bags.
It's okay. It's not bad. Like I said, it's almost an interesting coming of age story.
Yeah, it was made really well. It was funny, and the characters in it were good. They were funny people. They were. I liked the main guy. He was very, very funny and charismatic.
He had a good insight into himself and obviously what they chose to do and why they chose to do it. All right, Jay, your turn next week. What are we watching?
Well, I guess we're gonna stick with the Hollywood BSD bag guys. The most hated man on the internet.
Oh, sounds
you're
good.
You're gonna love this guy, because I know Vegas Dave. You hated Vegas Dave. This guy is even more a clown than Vegas Dave. So you're gonna hate this guy.
Jay's been waiting for me to watch this one.
You're gonna hate this guy, because I know how you get fired up when you watch.
So hot.
You hate these clowns, dude, that just think they're all that. Oh, I know how you hate these clowns. I know you hate these clowns. I don't even know anything about it. I know how you hate these clowns.
All right, well,
it's on Netflix, The Most Hated Man on the Internet.
That's your homework. You can stream this live every Thursday, 9 a.m. on Facebook, YouTube, or our 104.7 The Cave app. As always, I'm Mike the Intern. This is Jay Stevens reminding you
we watch documentaries,
movies, so you don't have to. It's Dark Side of the Stream on 104.7 The Cave.